Welcome to Extra Talks. When we don't have any tales to spill, we still brew up a cup of tea and talk.
Sometimes it's with friends, sometimes with guests, and sometimes just the two of us, chatting about life's quirks, big questions, and everything in between.
So grab a cup and let's talk.
Today, we're talking to Joe Diamond, the Midwest Mystic and mind reader. Let's dive in.
Okay.
Okay, yes.
It's official.
Actually, guys, I changed my mind. If we could not record it. No, I'm kidding.
Okay, well, we do have a couple questions for you. If anything is like, you don't feel like answering or it's a little bit redundant for you, you can always...
Nope, I'm an open book, and again, like I'm okay with sharing just about everything. There are some, for lack of a better term, trade secrets, which isn't anything different than any, like professional wrestlers call it kayfabe. KFC would call it their signature original secret recipe.
Yeah.
So there are some of those like types of things, but also like when it comes to like my artistic work, like the live shows and such, I don't allow like filming of the shows currently, and that's mostly just because I don't want the surprises to be spoiled. Like the number one thing people like with this type of live entertainment is the surprise. Yeah. So if I am being coy about something, it's usually to, like, I totally relate to all the Marvel actors where they're like, can't talk about anything, but still have to tell people to go see it, even though they can't say anything. So there is occasionally that, but I mean, I don't think there's anything you could ask that I'll be offended by or not want to talk about. I'm fairly open with all that stuff.
Perfect.
So it hasn't happened yet, so that's what I'm saying. That's what I predict.
Okay, so first, would you please introduce yourself and give us a little insight into who you are and what you do and what you're all about?
Okay, well, I am Joe Diamond. I'm from the Midwest. Some people have started calling me recently the Midwest Mystic. Some call me a mind reader. Some call me a mentalist. I'm not a medium. I'm a large. That's a lot funnier when people can see me and see this James Corden clone that escaped the facility. And for the last 20 so odd years, I've been designing mind reading shows, and I've consulted on different theater shows. We can maybe talk about those that kind of combine or use some of the formats of more traditional like performance magic, but marrying it with a lot of the symbols and rituals of ritualistic magic. We're not sacrificing people or anything like that, but I do try to see everything literally from the audience's perspective. I do a lot of my shows in historic and haunted locations in the Midwest. I performed at the Woodstock Opera House, which is famous for being in the movie Groundhog Day with Bill Murray. It's the building he jumps out of at one point. That was one of the first theaters Orson Welles ever performed in. So last year for Halloween, I did my full evening theater show. The first half was my usual mind reading show, which I can travel with anywhere. I've done it everywhere from house parties to larger corporate events. Then after an intermission in the second half, we did an Orson Welles seance. Since that was the first stage he ever performed on and directed on. And so I designed that specifically for that venue. So I'm really trying to blend more immersive arts and experiences into the shows. The elevator pitch, like that my wife gives, because she works in corporate and finance, so she has to give the 30-second elevator pitch. She doesn't have to do podcasts like this where we can go more in depth and actually explain what it is I do. The way she phrases it, she says I do like magical mind reading shows. Instead of pulling rabbits out of hats, I'm on stage and I'm pulling names and numbers and thoughts out of people's minds. And so that's the again, the kind of truncated version. And we can get into a lot of the other stuff as we go along with, the upcoming Halloween shows and the location I'm at for that. Real quick fun fact, the show for this Halloween at the Maxwell Mansion in Lake Geneva, we're going to be doing it all month. We're going to be doing it every single Friday. Actually, at time of recording, we start next Friday, which is September 26th. That's kind of the preview night before October, and then all the Fridays in October. And of course, that building is haunted. We can get into some of that. But Lake Geneva, Wisconsin's big claim to fame is it is the birthplace of Gary Gygax, the creator of Dungeons and Dragons. So there's a lot of cool history there. He's also laid to rest there as well. So it's funny because it's like this very affluent Hamptons-esque escape for like Chicagoans and Milwaukee business owners and stuff. But then there's also like people just coming up there to make their pilgrimage to Gary Gygax's house. So it's a really cool community.
Yeah, what a mix of people.
Yeah.
Okay, Joe, how would you describe what you do to someone who's never seen like a mind reading and like mystic show before?
That depends. In some cases, I will just do something for them and just say, "Hey, it's more fun for me to show you rather than describe it."
Yeah.
My one mentor, his name was Eugene Berger. He was a religion scholar. He taught religion. He taught all these different cultures and everything. He had a huge background in all this. And the way he told this story, actually, I have a kind of a picture of him here. This is him and my other mentor. He couldn't be two more different people, but you'll see he looks kind of like an evil Santa Claus. He looked like this by 39, which is about how old I am now. We'll leave it at that. I look great for my 40s, but terrible for my 20s. And again, we'll leave it at that. But he once said, he woke up at age 39 one time and said, when am I going to stop following other people's dreams and follow my own?
Wow.
So he quit his job. He started working, doing like card tricks and magic in like high-end Chicago bars. But he incorporated, again, a lot of these symbols into it. Like when he did a card trick called Dracula and the Sorority Girls, where at the end, the card that you wrote Dracula's name on ended up thumbtacked to the card case, which was really cool. He also did something where he would light a candle and burn a piece of thread into multiple pieces, then ball up one of them, stick it to the one piece, and then pull on it, and the little ball of pieces would just fuse back into the one long piece as he pulled it. Wow. And he told the whole story of Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva and the creation, destruction, and recreation of the universe with it. So even when he was doing small little things like that, and again, he worked for very high-end clients on the North Shore of Chicago, and through his writings and his books, he became very well known amongst magicians and mystery performers and psychic entertainers around the world. And he often said, trying to use words only to describe magic could sometimes feel like you were carving a steak with a screwdriver. It's like it's a fine tool, but it's not the only tool or best tool. Yeah. But that said, it's funny how as my work progresses and I dive more into, like, using words to describe it is one thing, but I think words are magic. I think words are, have power in them. Mm-hmm. So this is a very long-winded way to say, again, what my wife would normally say, but like in person, I would very likely, especially if I can tell this person is really intrigued or is definitely open to something new and different. It depends on what they're asking too. I've been asked everything from, can you read my palm, to give me the lottery numbers, and things like, no, slow down. I can only do one of those two things. Yeah. But again, the big thing that I like to say now is, or the word I use mostly is either mystic or artist. Cause I mean, I think, all artists do what I do. I don't think I'm different from anyone else in that regard, but the art form is more immersive. The best way to kind of describe the shows themselves actually is I describe them like real life Twilight Zone episodes. Mm-hmm. I see them where I'm not the main character. The main character is the audience. Right. Like if you watch a Twilight Zone episode and it was about someone going to see a mind reader in a haunted mansion, we likely wouldn't start with the mind reader. We'd start with the people going in, one person saying, oh, I believe in this. One person going, oh, I don't really believe in this. I don't know. And then they go in and something weird happens, and maybe it extends before the four walls after the episode or points to other things beyond that. But it really is about those people in the audience and not really about, the performer or me. I am merely for lack of a better term, the guide, the facilitator, the designer of the experience. But I really want it to feel like it's about them, and it really is in many ways, because unlike traditional magic where someone can just stand on stage and produce a dove or saw someone in half and put them back together, you can do that in an empty room and you've still accomplished the thing.
Yeah.
I need at least one other person in the room for it to do mind reading.
Yeah.
So it is almost entirely interactive. I do give the audience a break too. I have some story pieces that I do and some moments in the show where people can stay in their seat, but I also have moments where everyone in the audience participates. But again, I mean, one part of me is like, oh, I should have just said the Twilight Zone thing, but we're talking, and the whole point is to go a little deeper. So giving you the full range and why I feel that way and kind of some of the vibes I get. And yeah, so I hope that answers it in a weird roundabout way. I hope so.
No, that's perfect. I think it's an interesting point, even for us sometimes. It's hard to explain really what we do. Like, I know the podcast industry in general is pretty straightforward.
Sure.
Anything that has to do with supernatural or paranormal or
Yep.
the realm in which people do not have a lot of understanding as is, it's super difficult to explain why you do it, why you like it, what are you doing.
So real quick funny story. A little over 10 years ago, when I first is when I met my wife, and before that, like Tinder had just become, that was like the new thing.
Yeah.
And putting mind reader or magician for job on there was not doing me any favors. I also didn't have facial hair then. I looked 12, like it was, all that. But at the time, it was only on Sunday nights, and it was for little to no money. But I was doing a radio show on Sunday nights on an AM station in Kenosha, Wisconsin, called it Unreal Radio. And it was kind of like a localized, small version of Coast to Coast, kind of. But I kept the title Unreal Radio because it was vague enough that it could be whatever I wanted. So one week, because I had lots of different friends in different industries. So I could talk to a magician one week, I could talk to a ghost hunter, I could talk to a sword swallower, talk to all that. And it kind of, so I just put, even though it wasn't my main source of income, I just put that down as my job title because it just made things easier. And then it was like, oh, what kind of people you talk to? This. Oh, why do you talk to them? Well, because the other thing I do is this. And then I got to, so it was kind of a way in, but none of it mattered because my wife and I had matched. She left her phone at home, went out that evening, and turns out I was on the bill on the show she was going to see. And the whole time she was like, I think that's the guy I matched with on Tinder. So she went home and was like, were you the guy reading minds tonight? And she knew it was me. But it was ultra meant to be at that moment. Yes. So that was kind of cool. But especially again, like people are the one upside with where the culture's going, at least here in the Midwest for the most part. And it seems to be, again, that's the middle. So it seems like this is bleeding over into just about everywhere. Is people do understand podcasting. Also, the paranormal has never been more accepted, or I hate to say popular, because it's still by default isn't, but it's not the most popular thing, but it is more popular than it has ever been. And there's so many different aspects to it and overlaps and everything. So most people do get it or have an idea, even if those ideas are wrong. If you say, oh, we do a paranormal podcast, what they think is probably very different than what you are actually doing, but it's at least kind of a common ground. And I will admit, 20 some years into this, like that's still one of the most difficult things, but it's also one of the most fun and rewarding things because you get to figure out, like, there's all the buzzwords of your brand and this and that, but and yes, you need that, but the whole point of that is learning who you are. That's the one like upside with it. That's the like super rewarding, I guess you could say, spiritual side of it, which is the more I look at and learn. That was the other thing Eugene Berger taught me. He's like, to succeed, you need to know who you are. That's like the most important thing, because once you know that, everything else falls into place. And, magic, like almost all art forms, is a journey, a voyage of self-discovery. So the more you learn about yourself and what you're interested in and why you're interested in those things, I don't even want to say the easier it becomes, but like the more nuanced and the more comfortable you become with it, I guess.
Yeah.
Too. So
I think that's exactly right. So you've been doing this for a little while. Just a little while. What got you into this, and how did you find yourself in this world? What made you want to do what you're doing now? Was it something that one day you woke up and you're like, I kind of feel like trying this, or did you always have this sense of, I can kind of read people?
yeah, it was a lot of little things. I used to say, oh, it's because I loved Ghostbusters as a kid, But then I was like, well, I also watched, well, I mentioned it before, Twilight Zone and Alfred Hitchcock Presents. But like, again, those had already kind of had their moments. I was pretty young to, like, I was born, I'll say this much, I was born in the late 80s. So Ghostbusters 1 had already come out, and even Ghostbusters 2, like pretty much all the toys and everything. I was into it, but at the very tail end of that fandom, for lack of a better term. But things like Nick at Night were starting, so I would watch those shows, and I didn't realize these shows were old. I just realized, at 8 o'clock, the shows become black and white. So they were new to me, and they were exciting to me.
Yeah.
Again, the short, on stage answer is I was a weird kid. That's how I got into this. But it was a lot of little moments. Like, again, I think unconsciously, I didn't realize this until years later, that, the reason I got into all this stuff is I was trying to make the stuff from those TV shows and movies that I enjoyed real, like in real life. I enjoyed that. I mean, I also learned, a card trick from my grandfather, but my great grandmother taught me how to read playing cards, just like tarot cards.
Yeah.
So she talked about like the deck of cards being a calendar. Like there's 52 cards in the deck, 52 weeks in the year, and 4 suits, 4 seasons, 12 picture cards, 12 months, 13 values, 13 different phases of the moon. If you add the cards value for value, ace plus 2 plus 3, you get 364. And when you add the joker, you get 365. And I learned that when I was quite young, but I still love telling people about it and just showing them how much deeper and mysterious the world actually is. I think that was a big part of it. A lot of people who get into this industry, they, get a magic kit when they're kids. And I definitely got one, but like, that's like the beginning and end. Like they got it and then they never really grew out of it. The older I got, the more I learned about like palm reading, the more I learned. I went to a very religious school too, so I had to like walk down to the library a block away to read all these books on, spells, and because it was like, oh, careful, the devil can use that as an in, and that made me want to do it more. Yeah, exactly. So now I just say, if I'm in league with the devil, why am I driving a Ford Focus? Like,
That's a good point.
Yeah, exactly. I realized very young that I loved mysteries. I loved murder mysteries. I loved Sherlock Holmes. Still to this day, I still do. And yeah, I think part of what drew me to this was when I talk about like magic in the spiritual alchemical sense, not the performance art sense, but like the actual learning about as above, so below, and the symbolism and everything and how the world works. The more I learned about that, the more I realized, these aren't boxes to contain things. Like, Christian school was very much about putting things in boxes, following certain rules, all these things. And from a punk rock standpoint, like, with the angst of a 16-year-old wanting to open those boxes and there's still a little bit of that chaos demon in me that wants to stir the pot just to see what happens.
Love it.
But for the most part, I think they're trying to solve everyone's, or at least their own, problems. And magic in all its forms is about mystery, and mysteries aren't meant to be solved. They're meant to be experienced.
Yeah.
Like if we woke up tomorrow and every problem on the planet was solved, we were drinking all the water, everyone was saying please and thank you, tariffs were no longer a thing, all of that. That's as political as I'll get. We are in America and Canada. But all of it, let's say all those problems were instantly solved tomorrow, there would still be an insurmountable level of mystery to our universe. Why is there something and not nothing? Who am I? Who are you? How are we connected? All those mysteries would still be there and still be worth exploring.
Yeah,
100%.
that's a good point. I think we like to we joke about, we've solved it. We've solved all the cases that we
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, exactly.
We know exactly what we're saying. What we're saying is fact, but we also like to say, come to your own conclusions, because we don't know. We don't know who's right. We don't know who's wrong. And I don't know who said this. I think it was a comedian or something. And he's like, we won't know who's right until it's too late. There's nobody.
Yes. There's that. There is also a certain level of, like, when people say, and again, this is happening less now, but when I was younger and getting into like the paranormal and stuff, when people would say, oh, there's no scientific evidence for the paranormal, I would just be like, yeah, you perfectly described both those words. If there were scientific evidence for it, it would cease to be outside of the normal and just be normal. That's why there's no scientific aspect to it. Like, to me, it is something complete, like trying to use science to explain or prove or disprove. Like, yes, of course, science is going to win out over the paranormal, magic, spiritualism, all that. But I don't see as much debate about love not holding up in a laboratory. Or, I'm not a huge sports fan, but like, I don't think you can science the sport team, put them in like, it's a control. Think about it. A team is always in a controlled condition. There's the game, there's the rules, there's a variety of things. And like, a team can win one game and not the next. It's like, okay, so, and that's why I even say in my shows sometimes, like, I address the skeptics head on and say, listen, the show is an art form, not a science. This is, that is what I do. And I have a friend who actually has done a lot of work in the skeptic community, and his doctorate is in psychology, and like, we've done some Q&As, and we give each other light ribbing. Like, there are some elements that he feels I go a little too far on, and I think there's things that he's a little closed-minded on, but that's why we're friends. We actually have conversations and meet in the middle.
Yeah.
But also, we both agree that, like, what I do would not hold up in his lab. Like, it would, like, and that's okay.
Yeah. It's just two different worlds, kind of, and find ways that they connect in certain areas, but it's kind of
exactly
an unsolvable thing.
Yeah.
There's no for sure answer.
Yeah.
So, what's the difference between what you do and what people think as psychic abilities? Or are they same thing? Would you consider yourself a psychic?
So I would consider myself a psychic, but I think we all are. Like, to me, calling myself a psychic is no different than calling myself a human, and I'm not going to put that on my poster, I'm also very careful to say that we all are psychic, not necessarily I am a psychic. Like, the most I do is the one show I do is called a Psychic Parlor in the Maxwell, which is I do throughout the year. And it's called that for a variety of reasons, like which is more branding than just about anything else.
Mm-hmm.
But I make sure to use it as a descriptor, I guess, as an adjective and not a noun, I guess, for me, basically. And because I think we all have, and also, as I'm sure you know, and many of your listeners know, but just to, drive it home, there's different levels of psychic ability. Some people are more empathetic. Some people are more like, they can just, be like, oh, that's going to happen tomorrow. And it does. Some people, and sometimes it's not even really that psychic. It's just they've got that heightened ability. Like my dad used to work on cars. He never went to automotive school or anything. Obviously, the car technology has passed by his level of what he learned just from, growing up and such. But my first few cars, when I'd go over there to visit, he could tell, like, oh, pop your hood, your belt's loose. He could just hear that, my other friend's mom, she can look at a page of text and in like a few seconds go, there's 2 typos and this should be indented, like just like a Terminator scanning it, just, the way I look at, for lack of a better term, psychic ability or gifts, spiritual gifts, is I see them as gemstones. It's very easy. It's not a perfect analogy, but my last name's Diamond, and again, it's a metaphor. This is the best story I've come to tell about. So we each have different gemstones. Mine may be a diamond, and it may be, the size of, we'll say $50, maybe about the size of like a rubber bouncing ball. But that could be underneath a lot of rock and a lot of everything. I can chip away at it. I can polish it. But no matter how much I work at it, Mackenzie, you may have a ruby the size of a football. And it may not be underneath as much rock and everything, might be a little closer to the surface, And Sarah, yours might be a ruby that's the smallest of them all, but it might be worth the most because it's the most, most pure and most flawless and all this other stuff. Mm-hmm. But I should just work at polishing my own diamond and not worry about your emerald or your ruby. I'm definitely more. I say it's mind reading and so on. It is more about empathy than telepathy in many ways, especially in person. But feeler doesn't, again, look good on a business card. That's technically what I do. It's like those things online. Describe your job badly. So in fact, that's the thing my wife says. She's like, it's not so much you're psychic. You're just a straight white guy with empathy.
That's the enigma.
In 2025, that is a miracle.
Paranormal.
I'll take that. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so I use it as a descriptor, but also when people hear psychic, they think medium, and I don't talk to people's dead relatives. I don't. I'll occasionally. I always say I don't predict the future and everything. That said, I have had. I think is true of all of us. We've all had like intuitive vibes or thoughts, and I have under very specific situations, like on a few radio shows and podcasts. Like they're not necessarily predictions; they are more forecasts, because like you can like look at someone and go, "Oh, they're probably likely to do this or notice this over the next few weeks." It's sort of like telling someone, "Oh, you're going to see a lot of red cars." But just tell them to be on the lookout for anything unusual, not saying the red cars. And then you write down and, that and maybe 3 other things. And if one of those is a red car, it seems like you predicted their future. But really, you just read them and figured, oh, they seem like the kind of person who would notice this more.
Yeah.
So it is more in that realm. Like when I do the Halloween shows, I do talk a little bit more about the history of the building and some of the paranormal occurrences there. Mm-hmm. And I have done, like a lot of paranormal investigators and psychic performers of the past, I have learned some like different demonstrations. Like one of the shows I do, I don't hypnotize anyone. I don't put anyone in a trance, but I use a lot of the same wording and framework to find out who is the most open to this stuff. I'll start with people in the audience, then bring some people up on stage for more in-depth testing, but we're looking for that one person who's like the best at this thing. Like in a hypnosis show, you want that one person who's going to be best at, making their whole body stiff so they can balance between 2 chairs best, For me, it's finding the person who's the most, or people who's the most open to the influences of the building and so on. Because I do use a lot of psychometry, which is holding onto an object and picking up on its vibes. And there's a lot of what I'm doing with that, and also seeing who else in the room is open to that kind of stuff as well. But again, like that is, again, you gotta have the broad stroke to get people in the door, to have them understand what you do. Otherwise you can get so minute that no one knows what the heck you're talking about.
Yeah, for sure.
I think that we talk about psychics and witches a lot on the podcast, and I think both of us are pretty intuitive and a little bit psychic vibes sometimes. I like kind of growing up my whole life, all of my friends were like, okay, you're psychic. Like, how did she know that was gonna happen? But I don't know how to explain it, or like what's the best way to describe it to somebody, but it's also just like having an understanding of something that you shouldn't, and then it happens, or it is true. It's more of like a you just understand that to be the truth, and then
exactly.
It is.
Well, I can't think of a better way to segue. Do you want to try a few intuitive tests?
Yeah, I'd love to.
Okay, so here's what we'll do. We'll do this because that's the other thing. Mind reading really does go two ways. It's about sending and receiving thoughts. Yeah. So to start with, I'm going to do this with both of you and all the listeners. So the listeners can take part in this if they want to go on the Tea Talks Instagram or my Instagram and let us know how they did with this. That'd be great. Now, I'm going to keep this simple. I'm going to think of a memory from my past. I'll think of specific details from the memory. I will project them both to you, and we'll see if either of you pick up on any of the, psychic transmissions. Now, here's a couple tips. Number one, don't say your answers out loud. And even people just listening to this, don't say them out loud, even if you're by yourself. And don't think about it too much. Go with whatever comes to you naturally. Intuition is knowing without knowing. So for starters, just get centered, take a deep breath, and exhale. Very good. All right, now look, this is going to sound weird for you watching, but it'll work for people who are just listening. I want the two of you to look in my eyes. And again, even if people are just listening, don't close your eyes if you're listening and like driving the car or something. But if for everyone else, take another deep breath. And as you exhale, get in your mind a number from 1 to 10. Lock it in your mind. Don't change it. Remember that number. All right, we'll do it again. Again, we'll keep it simple. Take another deep breath. And as you exhale, get in your mind a direction on a compass. Lock it in your mind. Don't change it. Remember that direction. All right, this last one's going to be the most difficult. This time, I'm going to send you both two simple geometric shapes, one inside the other, like a square inside something else. Don't pick square, though, since I just said it. Take another deep breath. Exhale. Remember those two shapes. All right, I'm curious to see how both of you did. So don't say anything yet. Let me say the whole thing, and then we'll see how the two of you did. I was thinking of a pretty common memory. I was thinking about once I left religious school and went to college, and my first day, like in an actual classroom, and I couldn't find geometry class on campus. So I asked someone where it was, and they said it was on the north side of the building. So if you got north, we'll count that. When I got to the classroom, I noticed there were 7 other students, and the teacher had drawn on the chalkboard a circle and a triangle. Now, did you guys get any of those?
I got 2 of them. Yeah,
I got all of them.
You got all of them. Okay, perfect, Mackenzie. Okay, so Sarah, did you? What'd you not get? Did you not get the shapes?
The number. I didn't get the number.
The number. Okay. Usually the shapes. That's the hardest one. That's the one thing people didn't get. What number did you get out of curiosity?
3.
3. Okay. And so now I think obviously with something like this, I picked this story for a variety of reasons. It is a little bit more psychological than it is psychic, but it does help with what we're going to do in a moment. So I'm going to do this specifically with you now, Mackenzie. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to grab 3 of my older business cards here. Okay. They're just, you can see I've got nothing written on them yet. I'm going to hold them here. I'm going to keep them in frame because, again, Even though this isn't like a trick, I don't want you to think later on, oh, maybe he did something out of frame or something. I want to be above board on this.
Yeah.
So I talked about going to the library as a kid. This time I'm going to kind of make up a scenario, imagine a scenario rather than a hard memory, and we'll see how you pick up on these, okay? So for starters, imagine you walk into a library and you go up to a wall that's floor to ceiling, nothing but books, okay? It's not even like halfway up and then like light. It's just all the way to the ceiling, all the way to each ends of the wall. You walk up and down the wall of books, and I'm going to imagine that I see a book. We're not going to go for the title or anything. I'm going to write this down. I'll put it behind the others. So again, you can't see it, but I can't change my mind, okay? Now I'm going to think about reaching out and grabbing the book. Again, I'm not worried about the title. I'm just seeing what color the book cover is. It's a hardcover book. What is the color of the book?
You want me to tell you? Okay, purple.
Like a light purple, dark purple?
Let's go with a light, like lavender purple.
Perfect. Okay. All right. So now imagine we're flipping through the pages. We're going to settle on a page number in a moment. Let me, okay, I think I've got a page number here. I'll write it out. And all right, same thing. I'll put this one behind the other so you can't see it and I can't change my mind. I'm gonna tell you this much. I settled on a 2-digit page number, and both digits were different. Okay, both digits were different. It's a 2-digit page number. What'd you get, Mackenzie?
27.
Perfect. Now imagine you're looking at page 27. You go up and down. There's a whole bunch of words. Let me pick one here. I'm gonna go with this. Actually, I think we'll do this. I'll cross this out. I'm gonna write something else underneath it because I think this might be a little better. Okay. I'm putting the pencil down. Again, putting it behind the other so you can't see it and I can't change my mind. Now, imagine you just see the blur of text on the page. And Mackenzie, just look right at me on the screen, and as quick as you can, say out loud a verb, an action, something you can do right now.
Jump.
Perfect. So I wrote all these down before you said anything. You can see you said purple. I kind of talked you into this, I'll admit, because I asked if it was light or dark, and you said a lighter purple, and you said almost lavender, because that is exactly what I did right. I know that was a little specific, but I wanted to give you kind of a range. If it was like blue, red, but you said lavender exactly. You also picked up on page 27 perfectly. And then the first word I wrote down was run. And then I crossed it out and I wrote down jump. It's all three. Spot on. That was perfect. And again, some of the listeners may have gotten those numbers or that word. So if that did happen, again, message us on social media. Let us know. I'm going to do one more with you, Sarah. Now, again, just to clarify as well for people listening, because I think it's pretty obvious, but it's worth mentioning. Like we talked about doing this, but we didn't like prearrange anything. I told you a little bit about some of the things we can do, and so on. But like no one, I did not like say, oh, hey, play along with this or anything like that. And that's the way I do this like this, because even if I had like looked either of you up specifically on social media before this, obviously I didn't, and it wouldn't help with what we've been doing or what we're going to do. So, Sarah, I'm just going to ask, what is you don't have to give me your full last name, just what's your last initial?
It's an S.
So it's SS. Okay. So I'm going to write your initials here. You'll see why initials. And I want you to imagine for you're now going to send me a thought for this last one. I want you to imagine you're going up to a tree and you have like a little pocket knife with you and you carve a heart into that tree. Okay. Carve a heart into that tree. I grabbed a notepad. Those are my last 3 cards. So I just grabbed a fresh one here. So I want you to imagine you go up to the tree, you carve a heart, you put your initials in, and I want you to think of one of the first people you can remember having a crush on. Doesn't have to be your actual first crush, but one of the first people. It can even be a celebrity crush, okay? And just think of their initials, okay? Got it? Okay. Just think of the initials, look at the screen, don't react. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, Z. Okay, you didn't even flinch. Perfect. Okay. I'm going to do this backwards now. Think of both initials. Z, Y, X, W, V, U, T, S, R, Q, P, O, N, M, L, K, J, I, H, G, F, E, D, C, B, A.
Wow, I'm impressed.
Okay. I was gonna say you stopped thinking of the initials and you were just like, oh my god, he can really do this. So we're gonna do this once more. Actually, think of the initials.
Okay.
Okay. Z Y X W V U T S R Q P O N M L K J I H G F E D C B A. Okay, I think I felt something. Okay, first off, I got the sense that both these, unlike your initials, both these initials are different letters. Yes. And I believe both of them, I wasn't sure about one of them, but I'm pretty sure both of them are consonants. Neither is a vowel. Is that correct? Okay, I'm going to write this down then. Again, pencil down. Again, don't tell us the name. Tell us the initials.
It's TR.
TR. Okay, do you remember about the last time you thought of TR? Can you remember approximately? It's been years, right?
Yeah.
Well, it's the first time for me. That is exactly what I wrote. I drew a little heart with SS plus TR.
Oh my god.
I won't tell them all the other stuff I picked up on. It's totally okay. Of course. And I'll take a picture of this when we're done and send it to you on Instagram, so that way we can post it when the episode goes up, and folks can see it if they've just been listening.
That's amazing. That's really cool.
That's so cool.
Thank you. You both were perfect at it too, so this is great.
I think I'm really bad with this, but I'm trying to like figure out, okay, is this the way he's doing it? How is he doing this? I think I get it, but then I'm like, no, I don't get it. I don't understand.
Yeah, there's again, like the thing I always say is, like, yes, there is psychology to this, of course, but it's only going to get you so far, and you got to take the intuitive leap. The other thing too is I have learned, for lack of a better term, some theatrical, for lack of a better term, again, tricks with this stuff. So just for example, this is kind of a good way to demonstrate this. So I mentioned before we recorded, one of my friends, Carissa Hendricks, she has a background in fire eating. She actually was the Guinness Book of World Record holder for fire eating for a while. And she and I first connected over Sideshow, because I had learned from some stunts from different Sideshow performers, like how to stick my hand in an animal trap without getting injured and such. Mm-hmm. And one of the things I learned was something called the human blockhead. Now, it's where you take a nail and hammer it straight back into your head through your nose. Now, it is not a magic trick. It is a real hammer. It is a real nail. You find the right spot in the head to go back so you don't injure yourself, you don't puncture anything, all that stuff. So now, despite it being 100% real, people will still say, like, oh, does that nail collapse, or do you switch it? So I actually will have people like sign the nail. I try not to tell things. I try to show it, like, okay, if you sign it, without me having to say that's not being switched, it's the same nail. And when they see that nail head with their initials like touching my nose, they're like, okay, it has to be that.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. You can just take the nail, push it in, leave it there, and pull it out. But taking the hammer and slowly tapping the end while you're putting it in, for people just listening, Sarah just made an amazing face, amazing face. And that's the proper face. Now, that's what I call theatrically enhanced. Like, if I just put it in and took it out, I'd get a reaction. But doing the hammer, and then I take out pliers to show it, to remove it. Again, I could just remove it with my hand.
Yeah.
But like having the hammer, having the old pliers, it theatrically enhances it.
Yeah, for sure.
So there's similar stuff with mind reading. And some of them relate to different techniques. Like some techniques, you can just, like very often just telling someone they're right or what you're thinking of and they say if you're right or not is enough. But something like this on the podcast where like I have the written, especially over Zoom, where I can show you the written proof or vice versa, is preferred for this environment. But also like one of the things I'll do on stage is I'll have someone, it's kind of for like from the movie The Sixth Sense, I'll have someone stand on one side of the stage, I'll be on the other, and say if I'm right, take a step forward, if I'm wrong, take a step back. So now as I'm like picking up on things, they're getting closer and closer. So that's, again, a way of showing I'm right rather than this person just going yes or no, or, you know, it feels more, it feels more like a journey. It feels more, and it gets more people in on the show too, because they're wondering how accurate I am. Like even you, Mackenzie, I could tell you were trying to see like, okay, is she blinking on a certain letter or something like that? So there is some of that sometimes, but you can't always rely on that stuff. You do have to, you know, it'll only take you so far. And even then, even reading those like body language tells is a kind of intuition in and of itself. Like you need to be able to tell, like, is the person crossing their arms like this because they're standoffish or are they just cold?
Yeah,
That's true. I'm cold.
I'm usually cold.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you're in Canada. It's okay. So okay, yes, I'm in the Midwest, but I'm right next to Lake Michigan, so we get all the we've gotten your smoke. We get the cold drafts. A few years ago, we had that 15 degrees below zero winter and all that. So the Midwest. Here's the thing that you'll appreciate with the Midwest, because we get almost identical weather to yours. We get pretty nice summers, wicked cold winters.
Yep.
But here in the Midwest, everyone's always surprised at both. Like literally on the news, Chicago news will interview people shoveling their sidewalks going, this is ridiculous. And I'm like, really? This thing that happens at the same time every year caught you off guard. Like, I've lived in the city 20 years. It's like, and then it's super hot. It's like, oh my gosh, it's so hot. We need to go swim at Lake Michigan and everything. It's like, really, you know, we're shocked at the humidity and the heat being next to a giant body of water. This is a surprise for us.
Yeah,
really. So whereas it seems like the further north you get, I think in Wisconsin, Michigan, and everything too, like people do, people have more come to terms with the weather and accepting of it rather than gaslighting themselves each year.
You'd be like, it's not happening. It's not going to happen this year.
Yeah, exactly. Like trying to anti-manifest it. It's like, yeah.
There'll be no snow.
It happened every single year ever, but this year is different.
No snow.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, thinking and talking about how we're trying to rationalize and explain to ourselves how you did what you did.
Okay.
Trying to segue.
Go ahead.
Is there
that
has ever happened to you during a show that was like incredibly unexplainable or like even spooky to you that you're like,
all the time,
this is unbelievable?
Yeah.
All the time. And I'll be honest, I actually leave opportunity for it to happen in my work. I think that's important. I think that's so here's just a couple examples. So another thing that I'll do, I'm 99% sure you're familiar with pendulums used for like divination, answering questions. I'll use pendulums in my show, and I have like a whole 5-minute, for lack of a better term, script or routine where I just bring someone up who's never used a pendulum before and teach them how to use it. And when, like you've probably experienced when you first teach people it, like it's amazing. Like they react like it's a magic trick.
Yeah.
And that's another example. People will be like, is there a magnet in it? It's like, no, it just works. It just works. It is what it is. Exactly. So I've done some stuff with pendulums that I still can't fully explain. One of them that I love to do is one person holds the pendulum. Once they've gotten it moving, they clear their minds and close their eyes. And then someone else will place their hand on their shoulder, and that person will think of a direction, and the pendulum will still go in the direction the other person's thinking of.
Wow.
Which, again, like to me just proves like, oh, you make contact, you can send and receive signals, whether you want to believe it's energy, whether you want to believe it's tiny micro expressions in our body. That proves it right there. No matter how you frame it, that's what's happening. I've also put pendulums in bottles and had people put their hands flat on the table, and the pendulum will still go in circles and answer yes and no. It will also tap numbers, so you can ask it like a question and like, let's say, what's 2 + 1, and it will go ding, 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 and it will tap out the numbers. Wow. I've had that bottle move on solid concrete floors that we all kneel down and put our hands down. It took a while, but it did move. I've had it answer questions that I definitely had no idea what the answer was, but people, I'm always conflicted with that, I'll admit, because people say, wow, he told me, this would happen in 3 months, and it did. And I'm like, well, I didn't, the pendulum did. But if you want, I also have tickets to sell, so if you want to give me credit, that's fine. But also ethically, like, no, you can do this yourself. It's okay. So there's a lot of that. So this is a good way to kind of segue into the Maxwell Mansion too. So my host for the show, she's very sensitive to spirits and energies and such. And we'll be talking, and the chandelier in the ballroom where we have the show, the lights will flicker or it will shake, even though no one's upstairs. Yeah. We've definitely felt different vibes in the room. It is interesting how different people bring different vibes with them.
Yeah.
So occasionally, so I'll also do something where I'll do psychometry readings. People will put objects into bags. They'll be mixed up. I'll take them out. So I won't know who in the room the object will belong to. And again, no trick to this. I just hold on to it, and I genuinely just say what I pick up on. And sometimes I'm like, I don't know why I'm seeing a golden retriever, but I am. This is a ring. It has nothing to do. It's not like, it has like a paw print on it or anything. And they'll talk about afterwards, like, oh yeah, I just got a new dog, or I got a new pet, or, something along those lines. So making those connections, I try to leave as much room for that as possible. And there's always something in each show that surprises even me, whether it's how someone reacts, whether it's, and again, an object, I have no idea what those objects are going to be. I've gotten everything from birth control to, there used to be tokens in the Old West that were just like brass tokens that were used for prostitution, because you couldn't pay for a prostitute, but if you bought this worthless brass coin and traded it to a prostitute, you could, you didn't exchange any currency. Technically that has no value. And then she would exchange that at the bar. And I can't, someone gave one of those, and I had a little bit of an advantage because I was coming across them for a long time, and I had like done some research into them. So I knew a bit more about what it actually was. So I was able to talk about that, which seemed amazing to him. That was just luck. But I said, like, oh, I don't think this is something you collect yourself. This was given to you, I think, by someone older, probably an uncle. And he, when I go to give it back to him, he says, yeah. And I go, oh, sorry, one more thing. Sorry, this isn't valid anymore. I'm really, really sorry. And, so to me, finding those little like improv comedy moments, there's an intuition to that just as much as, being accurate, basically. Yeah. So, and again, like comedians and improvers will even say like, oh, I don't know where that came from. Just that perfect line just came out and everything. Yeah. So I try to leave as much opportunity for that as possible. I design the show so that even if I'm wrong or having an off day or something doesn't happen, it's still going somewhere, and there's still a payoff in a sense. So
that makes sense. How do you handle skeptics in the crowd? I know we kind of touched on it before, but like, what's your main approach to handling them?
Number one, they're not skeptics. They're not skeptics. They're cynics for the most part, if they are brought to the show. Real skeptics, like my friend Dr. Tony Barnhart, has spoken at skeptic conferences, and we're actually going to be doing a small tour of the East Coast in November, and we're going to a skeptics organization, and I'm going to be doing a show for them. And I am going to lean more into the history of what I'm doing and everything else, of course. And I know I'm going to have to work a little harder and rely on more psychology and stuff. Mm-hmm. But for that, if true skepticism doesn't hurt the process, it's actually cynicism. It's the, hi, I'm Joe. What's your name? And they go, oh, well, you're the mind reader. Shouldn't you tell me?
Yeah.
Like, that's not being a real skeptic. That's being a cynic. And also I've heard that joke before. I'm so sick of it. I'm so sick of it.
Yeah.
The last person who said it to me, I was just kind of at my wit's end, and I just said to them, oh, I'm sorry. I don't care. You can be whoever you want. I was just being polite.
Yeah, exactly.
And it kind of threw them off because I was kind of rude to them by saying, oh, I don't care what your name is. But then I doubled back on this is another psychological technique of, I'll call you whoever you want. It seems like I'm being inclusive and all that. So it's like, oh, wait, it's just thrown them off so much. They've gone through such an emotional journey of, wait, he's a jerk. No, wait, I'm a jerk for being closed-minded. No, wait. And so now they just have to say, now they just say the name or say what their name is or what they want to be called. And that's fine. Every single show there's, and not to generalize, but it's a fact, 90% of my ticket buyers identify as female, and they very often will bring their husbands, boyfriends, male partners. And I hear it every single time. Oh, he's a skeptic. Pick on him. He's a skeptic. And I want to almost even say to them, no, he's not a skeptic. He's a cynic. And that's the other thing too, true skeptics, again, my wife is definitely more of a skeptic. I technically believe I am. I think the two of you are. You're actually looking into this stuff and want to learn it. But when someone goes, nah, I know that person hasn't listened to a single paranormal podcast or read a book or, any of that stuff. So, which is what a true skeptic would do. So I know that. And I also will say, look, this is a show. This isn't church. You don't have to believe a single word I say. Let's just have fun. That's the point. And I think as a result, that's why most of my, when I used to have TripAdvisor reviews for one of my shows, if you do look those up, you'll see over half of them are all, I'm a skeptic, but I loved this. And it's and I think so there's that aspect. I also have learned how to engage them, how to and the other joke I say is my show would be 2 minutes long with no skepticism. Yeah. I'd stand up there and go, I know what you're thinking. I know what you're thinking. I know what you're thinking. Bye. Good night.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thanks for reminding
us. I don't care how open-minded you are. You want a little more than that. That's why again, I don't write it down and put it down out of frame. You might think I have I do have a messy desk, but maybe I have, 100 cards with different colors and numbers and words on them. No, that's why I keep them all up here so you can see them and make sure nothing happens, because it's in human nature to be a little skeptical. And that's part of what makes the show fun. That's part of what makes the experience fun, is the more you think about it, the better that drive home is. And I could talk about just this for an hour, but I'll keep it very brief. I equate my style of performance, again, technically magic, but it's more under the umbrella of mystery entertainment, mentalism, psychic entertainment. Yeah. But I think that I have a lot in common with horror genre movies, because to me it comes down to a movie can be good, but if it's a horror movie and you're not scared, you're kind of well, I mean, yeah, it was kind of fun, but I wasn't really scared ever. Yeah. And if you leave my show and go, yeah, it was good, but I mean, it was kind of obvious all the things he guessed, or the whole point is the drive home. If you in that movie are not checking the back seat after the horror movie, or you're not saying to your friend but wait, you didn't move your lips when he was saying repeat. Yeah, okay. He was turned away when you showed it. Yeah, okay. Yeah, to me, there's two shows, and to me, the better I can make that second show, the drive home, the better the whole experience. And you need a little bit of skepticism for that drive home. If you just go, well, yeah, he can just do that, then there's not, even for people who feel that or think that, I still want to take it further than they thought possible or thought could be done.
Yeah. That's really cool. I like that. Okay, so part of our job, I guess, doing this is believing in spooky things and scary.
Sure.
That's our whole brand.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, do you have any personal scary or spooky stories that have happened to you, ghost related or like super crazy coincidences that have happened?
Yes. So I'll tell you two. One has to do with my little buddy down here on camera. That's Flora. She's my best friend. She's a creepy doll missing one eye. She was made by an artist. I don't know if she's still around, but her site was Day of the Dollies.
Okay.
And she was doing an exhibit at a venue I was also performing in. And so she had 100 of creepy dolls all over this venue. And the moment I saw Flora, I was like, oh, her. I want to take her home. So I bought her. I left her on they said you can buy her, but she'll be left on display for the rest of the month. You can take her home at the end of the month. I was like, perfect. And her name was on the tag, Flora. So I took some pictures, came home, told my wife, Lindsay, hey, I made a new friend today, showed it to her. She laughed. That's why I love her. And it was around this time of year, spooky season. So I, got all the spooky movies out and told her, you pick. And she picked a movie called The Innocents, which is based on The Turning of the Screw, which is what that TV show, The Haunting of Bly Manor, was based on Netflix not that long ago. And the name of the little girl in that movie is Flora.
Wow. Oh, wow.
So that's a kind of weird coincidence that maybe there was something unconscious between me and her. I put that movie out, all that. Well, that movie ends. She goes to bed, and I have all the Universal monster movies, Dracula, Wolfman, all those. And I just picked one at random. I literally closed my eyes, mixed them, and was like, because they're all 70 minutes. And I picked The Invisible Man, put it on, hadn't seen it in a few years. What's the name of the love interest in that movie? Flora.
Wow.
So 3 times in a matter of 6 hours, a very unusual name, Flora, came up. Yeah. Now, do I think she's haunted by a spirit that made those coincidences happen and has done nothing since then? No.
Yeah.
Is it a weird coincidence? Yes. A skeptic who may say that is just a coincidence, I say that's more disturbing.
Yeah.
The idea that no one or nothing, no energy was pulling the strings to make all that happen is more mysterious when you really think about it.
Yeah. Exactly.
The other one, this is more of a straight up haunting, was at the Maxwell Mansion a few years ago. My wife and I stayed there for a night during lockdown. It was closed up during lockdown and in 2020. And so the owner was like, hey, come on in and, you can, rather than isolate at home, isolate here for the weekend. It was very, very generous of you. And so the last night, Lindsay goes to bed. She's an early bird. I'm a night owl. And I'm sitting in the ballroom, which is right over the speakeasy. The speakeasy is where Dr. Maxwell did a lot of his, we'll just say, off-the-books surgeries back in the day. This was his retirement house. So technically, he didn't have a license to practice in Wisconsin. And he was known for partying, getting drunk, and riding his horse through town.
Love it.
So yeah. If someone broke a bone, I'm sure it's like, yeah, come on over, come downstairs.
I gotcha.
But this was also the late 1800s. I can't imagine they all went perfectly.
No.
But this also makes sense why if someone were to pass away down there while he was trying to help them, there wouldn't be any record of it because he wasn't the town was just getting formed. They didn't have filing cabinets for all that stuff. There wasn't even a newspaper yet. So it makes sense to me why there's so many different sightings there. People have seen everything from a little boy to an old woman and everything in between. So it makes sense there would be a variety of energies there. And even if they didn't die, even if it was just really traumatic for them or they were in a lot of pain, that can be felt for years later as well.
100%.
So everyone on staff has a story that's happened to them. I didn't have anything happen to me until this night. I'm reading my book in front of the fireplace in the ballroom right over the speakeasy. I close the book. I stand up and there's a mirror over the fireplace and I see someone standing over my shoulder.
Oh.
I turn around to see who it is. no one's there. And I turned back and looked in the mirror and no one was there.
Ugh.
Now, full disclosure, I had 5 old fashions that night. No bartender on duty. The owner just showed me how to make my own old fashioned, and I'm still not totally sure I know how to make it right. So I leave it up to everyone when I tell this story. It was either the spirits or the spirits that were drunk. It was one or the other. I haven't had anything happen to me personally on that level before, since, again, the flickering, some weird coincidences. I've had some people feel energies in the room, like when we're first starting or once we wrap up, or just like there was a weird vibe tonight. I have people come to shows all the time who know each other but weren't planning on coming together. Like they run into each other at my show very consistently, like probably every other show something like that happens.
Cool.
Wow.
And so so it is, I do try to be tuned into those moments, even when it's if it does feel like just a coincidence or just feels like, oh, that's weird, like kind of try to move on. Again, and when it happens in the show, like, again, I just let it happen. And if it does, and I try to be aware of those things, and leave it open for those things to happen.
Mm-hmm.
That's amazing.
I love that. I got chills when you were telling us the stories, to be honest.
Thank you.
I think we're good on our questions. Yeah. If there's anything else that you want to promote or anything that you're working on currently.
At Joe Diamond Live on all social media. I'm, of course, doing the show in October called Spirits of Halloween. That's going to be every Friday at the Maxwell Mansion, Lake Geneva, Wisconsin. Once that's done in October, we are extended for Fridays into 2026, starting in the winter. So if anyone is coming to the Midwest area, feel free to look me up. I do travel for shows. I was possibly going to go to Canada for something. It didn't work out, but I went to New York earlier this year, Texas. I do travel for shows. So if anyone's listening to this anywhere in the world and like their company's having like a holiday event or something, go to joediamondlive.com. I was just on the TV show Penn and Teller Fool Us, who, speaking of skeptics, like they're 2 of the biggest. And when they said that this is the kind of mentalism they love the most, because it actually takes real mental thought, like I was super honored by that. So like I'm almost tempted to start saying I'm the skeptic's favorite mind reader or the skeptic's favorite psychic or something. So I'm doing all that stuff all over the country and beyond. So if anyone's listening and I can be of service, my email is joe@joediamondlive.com, and there's a little tab to book me for events and such on joediamondlive.com, as well as my TV appearances and other stuff like that. So yeah, feel free to reach out if you've got any questions about anything we've done here or anything else I got coming up. And of course, same to the 2 of you as well. If there's anything I can do, just let me know.
Thank you.
We appreciate that.
Of course.
For doing this with us. We are very into this mystical things, and it was really exciting for us to do this.
Yeah, thank you. It was exciting for me too. This was a lot of fun. Again, I love the podcast, love your vibe, and this was super fun.
Amazing. Thank you, Joe.
Great. Do you have any questions?
Thank you so much. Who's like give me like 1 or 2 of your like bucket list like guests, or like someone you'd want to talk to, or
anybody.
Oh, anybody?
I'm good for like anybody. I think even like interviewing a skeptic, like a proper skeptic, would be fun to talk to.
Sure.
I'm a little bit more in the like YouTube community, paranormal, watching those people. So definitely people like Sam and Colby, or like paranormal investigators. I think that would be really cool for us to get in touch with people like that. Yeah.
Cool.
Anybody in the industry. We just want to talk to everybody.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. Our friend Varla Ventura, she's written a couple books on paranormal phenomena, ghost stories, mermaids. She just had a book come out called Enchanted Plants, where it's about the history and folklore and spell work of all this stuff. She's great. She'd be worth reaching out. She's on my Instagram too, so definitely reach out to her. And then as far as skeptics go, I know my friend Dr. Tony Barnhart would definitely love to chat with you, and he has found some very interesting things in like because he runs the Science of Magic program, so he's actually learned like, oh, here's why the mind thinks this way, or here's why the mind is deceived this way, and knowing that makes it like, it just makes it better for you to be like, okay, it definitely couldn't have been that because of this, or and all that stuff. So he'd be worth reaching out to as well. And of course, if you ever want to do a part 2, I'm down. You just let me know if you're like, we're short a topic this month. Let's bug Joe. Feel free. I've been having hosted the radio show and being a guest on a lot of like different friends' shows. Like I'm here for it. You guys are awesome, and again, love your vibe. Love just how real and honest you are, and just like. You both talk to each other the way I think internally. Like, this is so exciting. It's like you're the two voices in my head. So
it's us on equal.
Yes. I won't say which one's the angel and which one's the devil.
That's
the two of you can, each of you can figure that out. So.
We go back and forth.
That's fair too. All right, I'm gonna take a picture of this and send it over to you guys. And
sounds great.
We will. And
all right, thank you, Sarah and Mackenzie. We'll talk soon.
Thank you. Bye, Joe. Have a great day.
Bye.